Weathers passed away. You know who that is?
Sounds familiar.
The dude who played Apollo Creed in Rocky, Action Jackson from Right Eye.
Oh, oh,
We're back. Greetings, greetings. We are back with another exceptional episode
Exceptional.
of economic development.
That's right.
My name is Andre. My illustrious colleagues will introduce themselves.
Again, I'm Jaleel, your business education coordinator. Excited to be here.
I'm Mara, the Economic Development Program Manager.
Looking extra fresh, if I might say so myself. I had to throw in that reference. It might go over some of y'all head, but I had to do it. And then we have one more colleague that is our all things to all people person, handling all the logistics, making us look a little bit sane as we get situated here in this room. But today, we're going to help you discover your superpower. We're going to help you develop more empathy. Have you ever struggled with figuring out why you don't just seem to connect with your team? If you're building a team, have you ever wondered why you might repel people and people don't want to be on your team? And then others just easily gravitate. That's what we're here to talk about. How do you develop more empathy? How do you show up? How do you appear to others? This is connected to you unlocking your superpower, your ability that is dynamic and distinct that nobody else has, your gift. I'm trying to make my team break character because they're all looking at me.
Well, I was thinking you said your superpower. So are you saying that everybody has this superpower?
Everybody has a superpower.
Mhm.
Everybody has something that they bring to the table that's unique, that is easy for you but difficult for most.
Even
There's
you.
something that you do, even you. If I was Uncle Sam, I'm pointing at the wrong thing. If I was Uncle Sam, I would say, we want you. Whatever, which one of you is. But we really want to hit on that every single person has something. You have something that you engage in that actually creates energy for you. You lose track of time when you're doing it. Others come to you for this deliverable and this result. You have a gift. You have an ability that is distinct and unique. And there's the scripture that says, and your gift will make room for you. And it's just another verse that says that, if we said it in modern, it would be basically saying that to make room for you means that it prints money for you. It opens up opportunities for you. It gains favor with people. And you don't have to actually always get paid for your gift. As a matter of fact, the first way you use your gift is you start serving your gift out to others. And if you snooze, you lose, right? You the more you use your gift, and each one here on this panel who's part of this team can express about things that they found out that they're gifted in, and how even when they were volunteering and giving it away, what was a blessing that came. Because not only are you sharpening it and refining it, you're also growing personally. So that's how we're kicking this off, is we want people to rediscover or discover for the first time your superpower. And the reason I say rediscover is because I know a lot of us have had other people's voices in our head, and we might have been confident as a child and been running real like, man, I'm really good at this and I'm good at that. And then someone was like, you have to stop and be realistic. You got to do this, or this. So we want to kill that, shatter that hypnosis, and bring you back to reality. So team, what you got for me? We talking empathy, we talking superpower, we talking marketplace, we talking everything. Let's go.
Well, the cool thing with empathy is you're dealing with people. I mean, when you're in business, you're dealing with other people. Sometimes I hear it say is like, oh man, this job would be so much easier if there's no people to serve. Or teachers, this job would be so much easier if there's no students. Like, yeah, you don't say, but you also wouldn't have a job now, would you? And so I would say, I mean, empathy is the baseline. And it's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, I don't want to say like our day and age, but I think this is just life, period. When there's an absence of it, you feel it.
Yes.
Immediately. And it's almost like, but when you are gifted, because it is a gift, when someone has gifted you with a piece of their empathy for you, it's like better than Christmas. But I think it also stands out because you don't feel it all the time. Like, it's almost like you got to walk around hard because you just know that it's like no one's going to care. So thinking about yourself and your business, how are you serving people? If you're leading employees or you're serving a customer, what level of empathy are you expressing every day? Are you bitter? Mara actually has a good example of our corner store. Can you just share a little story about this particular employee that you engage with?
Well, I take pride in interacting with people, and it is a gift to be able to surround yourself with people that add to you, right? So, if you're the front-facing person of a business, if you own that business, you would want that person to be pleasant, right? To encourage people to come back and continue to support. And there's this particular store that I like to dip in and get my fair share of chicken and share with my team every chance I get. But the guy he has the stone face. Like, he'll just stand there and wait for you to say something. So, being the person that I am, I like to remind him that customer service goes a long way. So, you can be pleasant and it's not going to hurt you. Absolutely. And so I know when he sees me, he's like, oh gosh, here comes that lady again.
The customer service queen.
That I'm just like, hi. How are you today? Just don't just stand there. It's early in the morning. Like, you could change somebody's whole day.
That's good.
By just being kind. And it's not like you're not on the clock. So try it, And so today, when I went in there, I knew he wasn't going to say anything. So I just started the conversation because I looked in, I didn't see any fries. They sell fries for $1. So, are there any fries coming up? He was like, no, not anytime soon. I said, okay, well, let me get corn dog and some chicken. And he's like, takes my money and have a nice day. Oh, thank you. Have a nice day yourself. I said, I sure am going to have one now. I got my chicken. I know he's like, she's always extra. Why? But I mean, how harmful can I be by being kind to you? Just hopefully step it up a notch.
good.
You know?
Absolutely.
Before Michelle jumps in, because I know she has something, I want to say that
I forgot already.
she said she forgot it. So I go to a restaurant, I go get a salad, and I'm sitting there, and the person who seats me, the host or hostess, whatever, she seats me, and she just always great attitude, you know, and was just like, "Oh man, how's it going?" Da da da.
Right.
Man, I felt like I know if you're gonna order the same thing, I eat that because I'm a creature of habit. But she's like, if you're about to order the same thing, I was just thinking earlier, I was like eating the salad, and I was like, I haven't seen that guy recently, so I was like, oh, okay. So just small talking, like, all right, cool, right? She's having a baby. It's visible, but I never say anything because I need to know if that's the case. Shout out to people,
Politically
men,
correct.
little don't assume because you can get embarrassed if it's not that case. But so anyway, she's small talking, whatever, seats me in my section. The people who are assigned to my section are literally just going past me, not saying anything. Saying that the section's pretty empty too. There's only like probably 2 tables, and the people who are supposed to be working the section are not saying anything. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, it's kind of awkward. I was reading my book, kind of just like, all right, you know how you're getting I'm getting a little too much of the book right now.
Right.
Something else should be happening.
I've been there.
I'm not at home.
there.
I'm not at home. What's going on? I'm like, this chapter's really getting good. Like, why am I so in this sequence? And so then, nothing. Okay, I'm looking. It's just the water that's there from the hostess that seated me. Then we're telling this for a reason because we're talking about when you notice the people that are your customers and you also notice your team. It's empathy, right? So then finally, the other booths, like kind of the hostess comes and brings in some larger parties or whatever, and they get seated, and then they fill up a booth. And so then the hostess sees that I'm looking and comes back and takes my order. It was like, gets my order for me because, you know, she could say. So then all of a sudden, now after they've checked on these other tables, now the person who was assigned to me comes over and was like, oh, hi, I'm the person serving you today. And then just was kind of like dips out, right? So I'm already like, you kind of set a bad tone for me already because like you went and you talked to other tables when I was here clearly first, you didn't say anything. And then now you saw what you perceived as I'm going to get a good tip from them. You know, this is how it looks in customer service. And so you went and you placed priority on what you thought was going to be a money grab for you, but you ignored someone. And so I was like, all right. So then literally no engagement. Came by, someone else brings the food, no engagement, but then comes by and was like, oh, what book are you reading? Because then their mind is like, let me secure, at least say that I did something so I can get the tip. So then it was like, it was so disingenuine. Whereas someone who's not even working the section and the hostess came and they were engaging in legitimate conversation to be like, oh man, how's the food? Did you get everything? So I'm like, all right, cool. So then in my mind, because my value and a culture of my wife and myself is that we are not going to be stingy when it comes to, I want to bless. I'm not going to just come somewhere and then like eat and then have it be a jerk and, oh, here's $2. Like, no, typically it's going to either be close to there or it's going to surpass what the bill was. So it's going to be past the percentage. It's going to be whatever the highest percentage you can give for a tip, because I believe it says given it shall be given unto you. And I'm learning to try to break off this kind of scarce mentality around money, right? Because you don't know how much of a blessing you could be to people just from the fact of that you're consistent because they're consistent. And even when they're not consistent, there's also the side of you that can be gracious because God doesn't give us what we deserve. We have bad days as well too. This day in particular, I wasn't going to be gracious when it came to that. So I wasn't not going to tip this. I said, but so then a manager came over to run the, I asked the manager to run my ticket because I saw somebody run, because once again, I have no service from the people that are supposed to be really serving me. So then someone goes by who I think is a manager. I'm like, oh, hey. So the manager comes over and is like, oh, I run your, and I was like, hey. And I said, by the way, I said, can I give my tip to, and I identified the 2 people that, and it's like, oh, what, Rob, what's happening? Oh, no, we're going to, and so then, while the manager's ringing it up in the auto thing or whatever, you know how most of them have the carrier things. The person who was, she comes over like, oh, you see her trying to get the, and she was like, oh no, and then she goes over and the manager goes over with her and talks to her and she was like, let her know. And then she came back and she was like, oh, I let her know that we're gonna have a talk or whatever. And I was just like, But in my mind,
It's so real.
but in my mind, I'm like, nobody wanted to be that guy. You set yourself up. And I'm pointing this out. I shared this big elaborate story because we want our business owners to understand, don't let this be you with how you do commerce and how you do. See every single person as much as you can. That's what makes a good business. That's what makes a good customer experience is that. And guess what? Now these two people who didn't even have a role where they were supposed to necessarily get a tip from that got tipped because they were, I was like, hey, let me put it in here. I want them to split this. And I gave them significant tip. That was almost more than the bill. So I'm like, that to me is interesting is that, as Mara said, customer service goes a long way. Yeah. How much is customer service with you being a leader in the company and you have a team? Are you looking to see how you could serve them, or are you looking to see how you can serve yourself?
Mic drop.
For me, it comes to like also like having empathy in your products and like the user experience. There's these paper towels that I buy, and it seems very simple. Paper towels, okay? And there's hundreds of different types of paper towels. You can buy them at the dollar store, you can buy them at Target, you can buy them at Costco, whatever. I buy this specific paper towel that I really like. And every time someone comes over and uses my paper towels, they're like, I feel like I'm at a hotel. That's why I keep buying these paper towels. You know, so the empathy, even it can go into your product.
That's good.
You know, what is the experience that people are experiencing using your product? I've been buying these paper towels since I was in college. That's like 8 years ago.
Nice.
So I'm a loyal customer, and I recently just bought some other paper towels more for like cleaning and stuff. Like I kind of want to take these back and get my regular paper towels. Like I'm used to these paper towels at this point, and I love them. They are quality. They work well to clean. They work well just for anything. Like,
that's real.
So I don't know. That's just where my mind went. Not just being a leader in your team, which is really important, but also being a leader in what, you know, there's room for improvement all the time, right? And in growing. And so building a product that also is empathetic towards your clients.
Design. So even how you design.
Every step actually should be with you intending on putting your best forward. Whether that's your marketing, your interaction with the vendors, because it really says what your brand is intended to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give another example. And no, we don't have any sponsorship or whatever, but I love the experience of going out to Layla, to the casino. I don't go gamble, but the customer service there is so on point. You know what I'm saying? They really like go above and beyond, and I've never had a bad experience there. So you know, if I get an opportunity to take somebody for their birthday, it's like a double bonus for me too. You know,
see them be served in that manner,
and just on point. And then you can go shopping next door and, you know, make a day of it or whatever. But I think that is the goal. That's how you build your brand, is you want people to have that feeling that, oh, I'm going to get exactly what I want, you know?
You hit the nail on the head, because so we joke because there's a big, I mean, everybody watching this knows what Chick-fil-A is. I mean, pretty much, or you don't if you're somewhere else in the world. But in America, a lot of places have Chick-fil-A's. And so we laugh, my family, because we live in a south part of Seattle called, you know, Renton or whatever, and we call it Renton Filet, because we say they haven't came up to the Chick-fil-A standard yet. Because it's like it's gonna take some time to build that. They say, you know, if you experienced it first in the South and then you come here to the Pacific Northwest, or you go to these other cities, you ain't getting that experience. You get the what's your okay, what do you need? You know, and then with all that, yes, you know, my pleasure, thank you, ma'am, yes, sir. So it's crazy, but there's nothing like having a grand experience that you want to go tell people about.
Mm-hmm.
When people go above and beyond, it is not just, and think about, our society makes us over-index on being negative, and that's even how our brain works more. So people will be, the first time they'll write a review will be negativity. And I thought about
all my reviews.
I thought about
Like, some of my reviews have like 2,000, 3,000 views, and like people like it
because she goes there.
because people. And then I get like notifications all the time, like, people found your review helpful. Like, let's celebrate your reviews.
Wow.
I have the extremes. I won't review if I don't have an extreme. So either I really loved it, or I really wish this business would just go out.
So you gonna let them know.
And everybody needs to know.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to know if it was great or if it was terrible.
Yeah, well,
I'm not reviewing it in between.
I shared feedback with the guy that normally is extra courteous at the corner store. I sure did. I said, you know that young guy that works in the morning? I said, he could really use some customer service skills. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I'm committed to spending my money here.
That's good.
Right? So I should be able to have a say.
Oh, absolutely.
And I also tell him, stop offering everybody hot sauce. Because that is not needed in our culture. If people don't ask for it, I know they're upselling, but come on. Every person that buys chicken doesn't need hot.
I was listening to a podcast early this morning, and they were talking about when people do things stellar, and so it made me think about it. And I said, you know what? There's some managers of some establishments that I frequent a lot, and they've heard from me when it's complaints. So I reached out to one GM and was just like, man, because what they were talking about was consistency. So do you have consistency when people come in? Do they always know what they're going to get? And you think about that in your life. Do they always know what they're going to get? There's certain people who you don't go and spend time with because they're always going to be negative energy. Let's say they're married and you're like, they're always into it with their spouse. You don't want to be around that. You're like, I don't have time for this right now. Like, I just want to be. Some people always into it with their kids and they got drama with their children. And you're just like, can you ever be at peace with your children? I don't want to be around that. So the consistency factor matters. And so I hit up a GM this morning and just was like, man, I said, I wanted to really highlight your consistency and point out that it is, that's what the email was titled Consistency, so I know he was probably like, what's he about?
Oh boy, yeah, that could go a lot of different directions.
I'm gonna save this one for later. I ain't even gonna open it because I know what does he want? I got how do we got to comp this long-term customer? And I don't need no comp. I need to just say a compliment of saying this is strong that I see, and it reflects through the culture of your staff. They have been consistent with me because you are consistent. And I just was like, have a great rest of the day. So I think that we want to make sure to show up to our customers, show up to our staff, show up for those in our world in a very consistent manner. That to me is going to be empathetic. Is that how can was there a verse that we had about preferring others or something?
Oh, I think I had a verse.
Yes.
Hold. All right, so this is Philippians 2, verse 4. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interest of others. Every day.
Yeah.
Here's another verse. We went over 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build up one another, just as you also are doing. It's interesting. There's how many commands there are to build other people up, and you're not going to get all those commands if it wasn't something that was so important. And when it comes to empathy, I'm thinking about empathy like as a purely just as a value, and the opposite of empathy, I believe, would have to be selfishness. If you're selfish, you won't be empathic, because to be empathic, you have to get outside of yourself to consider someone else's experience and then feel what they're feeling to the most that you can. And so the young man at the corner store, he's unfortunately rememberable for how unremarkable he was. Consistently unremarkable.
That's the key word.
Imagine that.
Consistently failed.
You consistently failed. Something about it. And then,
Except today, he said, "Have a good day."
and
Well,
so
It's
you
progress.
know, it
so we're
improved.
making progress on your consistency. So it's a little bit, we're getting some change, which is a blessing. Michelle was talking about you're not going to review mediocre. You're going to review things that take you emotionally high or emotionally low. You're not going to give energy
Absolutely.
to review anyone that's in the medium.
No,
But
and
if
I'm
they're-
not gonna go back there.
And then you're not going to go back because she has standards.
Yeah.
But that is real. Like, the crazy thing is, business, I feel like in our world and in our entrepreneurs, we can really, we're very talented at over complicating things. I need to figure out the algorithm to make more money, and I need to blah 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 blah. You know, simply put, get outside of yourself and think about your customer's experience. You talked about user experience. Think about how your customer is going to interact with you, whether it's a service or interact with your product. And if your heart is to make it better, then they'll enjoy it.
Right.
Crazy. But you had talked in our team meeting about programming, and we're all a result of our programming in some fashion, whether it's public education, parenting, or the lack thereof. And so going back to our soon to be, one day, hopefully remarkable young man, I'm going to speak positivity over this guy.
Yeah,
He did not get that way by default.
by chance, yeah.
He wasn't born that way. He went through a series of years and a series of programming with a series of parenting or the lack thereof to be stone cold with other people. So my question, I guess, for you guys and then for you as the audience is, what programming has led you to where you are today? And if you're not where you want to be today, what programming do you need to get around yourself so that you can get to where you want to be?
I love it. I love the what's the scripture on self-examination?
I think that
That was
was
you?
1 Thessalonians 5:11.
Is that what you just read?
No, the self-examination, there was a different one.
2 Corinthians 13, verse. I'm shooting as close as I
I'm
can.
gonna find it.
Can I share something real quick?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I've been watching this show, and I finished it last night finally because I really needed it to be over because it was crazy. It's a crazy show. I'll say that much.
Consistently
And-
stressful.
Yes, consistently stressful. I felt like I was just stressed immediately. Anywho, the point is that it starts out really chaotic. Like everyone's character is extremely chaotic. Like everything, I was just, and I'm feeling it. I'm sitting there feeling everyone's chaos every episode. And then the last episode, it's like this beautiful, like just this harmony between all of the characters, and they do this incredible thing, which they have their first night opening of this restaurant. So they flip it from this crazy situation into this, and the journey of it is everybody finding themselves at this restaurant. But everyone is sent to different parts to, like, basically undo their systems. And so this one guy, specifically this one character, who's just like, man, nobody loves me. I don't have family. I'm an only child. All these things, I'm not worth anything. All these things. He goes off to this really high-end restaurant, and all he does is clean forks. All he does is just clean forks. Like, he just wipes them. And the point was for him to go out there because he was going to be the head of the house, like welcoming people in. And so he sees this like top service head of the house. At one point, this one customer was like, I've been in Chicago and I haven't had a deep dish pizza, and I leave in the morning. Oh, I'm so sad I'm not going to get to try it. They literally put it in order and make him run to this store to go grab a deep dish pizza. And they make it all elegant and stuff and serve it to the people. And so he gets to see what this level of service, what it is like to listen to your customers. And, they didn't have a deep dish pizza. They went and got it. That is something that someone heard, because the workers are trained to listen to the customers and do something about it. Like, and then in his restaurant, he taught this to his coworkers, and so during the service, one of the workers noticed that someone was too hot, and so they turned down like the lighting in the area. And so it's just like, it was just cool because, and then he showed up after this week away, he showed up back to the new workplace in a suit, and he was always wearing like a t-shirt and some baggy pants or something, and then he showed up in a suit. Everybody's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to treat myself better. I have to show up how I want to be treated.
That's good.
And it was just like, wow, you know, that what he thought he was being sent away to clean forks, you know, the guy running the whole restaurant was like, I need you to really go see what type of level I want you to achieve and come back. And during the interview, it was crazy because they were interviewing people for the front of house or whatever to do the greeting and stuff. He changes the napkin and he changes the fork. And they interview this girl, and then the girl sitting next to him, and she leaves, and she's like, oh, she was incredible. He was like, she was terrible. She sat there for 20 minutes and didn't move the fork, didn't move the napkin. That would have drove me crazy. That every other napkin looks this way, and she didn't pay attention to that detail.
Wow.
I'm not hiring her. And the girl looks at her and like, you moved the napkin? You put a test there? Like, wow, you've just developed, like, you've taken our service that much further because you could anticipate doing something like that and testing that without telling them. So it was just incredible. Like, that last episode was great, but the whole
The
season
journey
was
to
like,
get there
Lord.
was like...
Yeah, but it was just this whole show about people just being chaos, but over time changing the systems and completely making something incredible. And everyone
That's
walked
for
away
sure.
just like, that was an incredible night. Like everybody had an incredible
That is
experience
so
at this
legit.
restaurant.
Level of exposure determines your level of reality. That's one of my
Yep.
coaches says. Go ahead and hit through verse. Thank
So
you. That was
the
fire.
scripture on self-reflection, 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. Test yourselves to see if you are in the faith. Examine yourselves, or you do not recognize this about yourselves, that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you fail the test.
So it posed as a question, yet are you taking an inventory of what you bring to the table? What are you gifted at as well? Where are your, as we talked about, I believe it was last week, your blind spots? Figure out those blind spots and start figuring out how to address those blind spots. There's ways that you can observe others and learn from them who are stronger in those areas where it may be a blind spot for you so that you can grow. There's a scripture that says iron sharpens iron, so does one friend sharpen the countenance of another friend. We sharpen. When you're sharpening, sparks are flying. So it doesn't mean that you're always seeing eye to eye. Because it's sharpening. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I don't agree with that, but it's true. And it burns. And my children always say it. My family always says it because I'm working to get better and to be present in the moment. Instead of coming in being task oriented, I come through the door and I'll start doing tasks, and then they'll say, hi, Dad, how are you doing? Like, oh, I didn't say hi. No, you didn't. You just immediately went in and because told us to fix our shoes and get them off the floor and this and that and that. I'm always coming in trying to bring order, but you got to still see the people there.
Yeah.
So just an example, and we, as we close out, we always want to highlight the programs that we have available. We hope this is valuable to you. If this content that we're sharing with you is valuable, please do all the YouTube-y stuff. Like, share, hit the notification, comment. We need the algorithm to pick it up because the more we get the word out, the more reach we have and the more impact we have to be able to upskill entrepreneurs and build a stronger community. There's people in the comments that you can meet. There's people who are subscribers that you can meet. There's people in our in-person and in our Zoom events that you'll be able to come and connect with. So don't be siloed off in Never Land. Come on over to Urban Impact. The water's fine.
Come on.
What kind of programs do we have going on, guys?
Well, before I tell you about our Amazing Principles program, Michelle, when you were talking about your story, the man that eventually found this higher level of detail and self-awareness and like how he wanted to present himself and learned all these things, it was a messy process for him to get there.
Oh, yeah.
It was a messy process. And so I empathizing with you, if you're not where you want to be and you feel like, oh, I don't feel organized or I feel stressed out or I'm not sure, I got a little bit more month at the end of the money, the beautiful thing about seasons is that they don't last forever.
That's good.
So we are glad that you've invested in yourself to spend this time with us to learn about empathy. And the other thing, we're teaching you how to develop empathy at work. It's your superpower unleashed. The thing about super is that super is better than the average or normal, and a power is something that is your ability to take action on, right? So the beautiful thing about the man in Michelle's story is that after he went through this whole messy experience and process, he developed his superpower of attention to detail and how he saw himself, and he did it better than anyone else in the room. So if you can care about other people better than anyone else, it becomes your superpower, and then don't be surprised when success follows that. Yeah. So I just want to leave with the application for this week. My challenge to you, be careful with your words and ask, when you ask people, how are they doing? Sit there and listen.
That's good.
This is an empathy exercise. This is something I got this from a coach, and from that point on, I don't throw my words around, and I don't just ask you, how are you doing? Because everyone said, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Good.
Right.
But I thought about it, I'm like, if you ask, how are you doing? Who's actually going to sit there and listen to really find out how you are doing? Most people are just so callous, like with the word love, with the phrase, how are you doing? So make your words mean something this week. And if you're going to ask, how is someone doing? Budget 5 minutes. Yes. Budget 10 minutes.
Yeah. Somebody wanted to ask me, how's your soul? I was like, that's different. I'm like, normally people see me say, how are you? Not how is your soul. That just, okay, let me think about that. How is my soul right now? And it was a completely different conversation than how are you doing that I'm used to hearing. And I'm fine, moving on, doing good, you know.
That's such an empathetic question.
Yeah.
So maybe be intentional, maybe add some empathetic questions into your daily process, your sales process. Anyways, back to principles. If you want to learn some more empathetic questions or how to apply those things into your business, our principles class is going on right now. This will likely be the last week we'll let any last comers in. Yeah. It's on Monday, 5:30 to 7 p.m. We're essentially helping you go from an impoverished business mindset to an empowered business mindset over 3 weeks, and then it rolls right into our Sharks at the Beach programming.
Yes, so our Sharks at the Beach programming starts February 29th. That is a Thursday. It meets for 12 consecutive weeks and ends with a pitch competition with an opportunity for you to win capital for your business. And that is application based, and so the application is open right now. If you go to our website, urbanimpactseattle.org, you can find that application link.
Sign up.
And we will be interviewing you. So really, we just want to know that you have some sort of product. You've thought more about your business than I have an idea. And so that's what we'll be interviewing to find out if you're a great fit, or we'll give you feedback on how you can apply for our program the following year to really be a strong candidate. But if you join our principles course, you will have a much stronger chance of making it into Sharks at the Beach, because you'll know exactly what we're looking for from you.
100%. All right.
Good stuff.
And for any supporters, if we have like donors watching, or we have past Thrive alumni or Sharks at the Beach alumni, our pitch competition is going to be at the end of May. It's going to be off-site. We want to have everyone come and join us. It's going to be an open event. It's going to be a good networking event. And so if you're looking for something to do,
dress nice,
in
like
the
man in the story.
The third Thursday of May, please come and join us. We will have more details and information on that soon. More details to
follow. So you know what to do. Subscribe, notification, comment, share, all that YouTube-y stuff. Team, signing off. We want to say shalom. See you when we see you. We are out.
Friday.
It's Friday.
You can go and have a good weekend.